morning everybody. No, that's a vlog intro. Hello everyone and welcome back to Waverly Reads. Today I'm bringing you my June wrap up, the books that I read in the month of June. 8 books in June, and the only reason I managed to do this was because I took part in a 24-hour readathon, which was the last video that I posted on my channel excluding my weekly vlog. So go and check that out, then go ahead. It will be on the end card of this video. Outside of the readathon I read 4 books, and then inside of the readathon I read 4 books. So in total we have 8 books. Just check the description bar down below for all the technicalities, and I'll also hopefully put them on screen. Come on future Waverly, I know that you know how to edit. 8 books that I managed to read, and let's get into what they're about and what I thought of them. The first book I read was Unravel Me by Tara Murphy. This is the sequel to Shatter Me, and it follows a girl named Juliet who has this gift where whoever she touches, she inflicts pain upon them and could potentially kill them if she doesn't pull away quick enough. She is then taken from this insane asylum that she was put in by her parents. It would be basically a weapon for this guy named Warner, who wants to use her power to overthrow the world and take over. Taken hostage by him. But there's a romance story in this as well with a boy named Adam who she knew as a teenager in school, and they try to basically free Juliet from Adam, and I'm not really doing this much justice, am I? This is a sequel that follows that, and I loved it so much. Honestly, I can't remember what rating I ended up giving this. I think it was around a 4.5 star out of 5. It is no way near as good as the first book, but that seems to be how things go. The next book I read was Spells by April Pike. This is the sequel to Wings. Wings follows a girl named Laurel who finds out she is a fairy after her 16th birthday. She begins sprouting this flower from her back, which is essentially her wings. She finds out that she is a fall fairy and there are goblins trying to take over, and she gets in a lot of trouble. It's a very light-hearted middle grade book. I really love it. It's one of my favourite books from my childhood. And I read this when I was in school, not long after I'd first read Wings, but I didn't really remember anything that happened other than a few like small minor details that don't really affect the book. I really loved it this time around, and I'll definitely be continuing with the series, which I haven't actually touched the rest of this series. I think there's 4 books, 5 books, 6 books. I'm going to be continuing on with it. And this got a 4.5. Again, not as good as the first book, but like I said, that tends to happen. Next book I read was Illuminate by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I think I'm pronouncing Amy's name right. I'm pretty sure Jay's is fine. Just the Kaufman part I'm a little bit skeptical about. I thought today the heat is getting to me. This is the first book in the Illuminate trilogy, I believe it is. There are 2 other books that I haven't yet touched, but I'm definitely wanting to. This is a sci-fi novel, and I am big on the sci-fi dystopia theme, but this is, I think, strictly sci-fi. I mean, I guess it's kind of dystopian, but sci-fi is definitely an aspect of this book. It is so pretty and it's such a gorgeous book to read, and I'm not going to be able to tell you what this book is about because it just does not process in my brain a way to explain this book. You yourself as a reader do not know what's happening in this book until about halfway through, and by that point you're way too far gone. I love this book like stupid amounts. I'm definitely going to be picking up the sequel. I've already brought it. It's already in my possession and I'm going to be reading it. But Illuminate was amazing, and I think I gave it a 4.5, maybe even a 5 star on my Goodreads. It's an amazing book. Sorry I can't explain what it's about, but if you like sci-fi then you will definitely like this book. All I can really say is that it's set in the future and they're on these spaceships trying to escape this other spaceship which is trying to like kill them, like blow them up, and there are multiple different spaceships, and they it follows mainly our 2 main characters, Ezra and Katie, though they use different names throughout the book. A little bit difficult to follow, but definitely doable. Like, if I can read it, anyone can read it. And they are trying to escape from this spaceship, but they're also on different spaceships, and on one of the spaceships there is like a virus outbreak, and it's like airborne virus, and when you get infected you go insane. Like, it's kind of zombie-ish but not zombie-ish because they're not eating each other's flesh, they're just trying to kill people. I can't even explain it. It's an amazing book, and definitely go read it if you like sci-fi. And we enter into the readathon, and in the readathon I managed to read 4 books, and again you can go see the vlog. It will be on the end card of this video. The first book I read in that readathon was Dreamology by Lucy Keating. It's actually a book I was supposed to have read like 2-ish years ago in a book club that I created that didn't really go very far. This is a light-hearted contemporary book. This girl named Alice who has been dreaming about this boy for as long as she can remember, and then one day she moves school and it turns out that Max, this boy she's been dreaming of, is a real person, and he goes to the school and he's been having dreams about her too. And yeah, it's a romance novel. It's really light-hearted and cute, and they have to try and find out why they've been dreaming about each other and how they can stop it because their dreams start coming to life and whatever else. There's a 2.53-ish stars. 3 is very generous. 2.5 is kind of really generous. There's nothing really to this book. It's definitely not my type of book. Being said, I didn't exactly hate it, so it wasn't that bad. Next book I read was Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. This is the sequel to Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda. There are a lot of sequels this month apparently. This follows our main protagonist Leah, who is Simon's friend from Simon vs. Her story of coming out and like being bisexual but not wanting to admit it, and it is very lesbian romance based, as in she likes girls and she's trying to figure out how to come around with liking girls. And she can't go too much into the plot about this because it kind of does spoil Simon vs. Home. I wouldn't necessarily say it was a sequel, although the events in this book do follow on afterwards of Simon. If you didn't want to read Simon and you wanted to read Leah, it's totally doable. It does spoil the end to Simon anyway. I really love this book. It made me feel happy to be gay, it made me happy to be chubby, and it just made me happy a lot. I related to Leah on quite a few aspects, even though Leah's kind of an annoying character. We're basically the same person. And yeah, I really liked this book. LGBTQ+ proud. Next book I read this month was, would you believe it, another sequel. I read Hexbound by Chloe Neal, although I really didn't like this book. It is the sequel to Spellbound. There's our main protagonist Lily, who is dealing with these powers that she has developed. Spellbound, like she finds out that she has powers at the end of Spellbound, and this is basically the same story as the first book. Now she knows she has these powers, and she's also dating the guy she was swooning after in the first book. I didn't like this book. It was just pointless. It dragged on even though it's like 280 pages, or even 240 pages. I don't know, it just seemed kind of pointless to make this a sequel when nothing new really happens in it. So for that reason I gave it, I think, a 1.5 star. The last book I read in the readathon was Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Briggs. I've been wanting to read this for a very long time, ever since I found Jessie the Reader on YouTube. He is like the world's biggest fan of Miss Peregrine's, and this is a very visual, gorgeous book. I really liked it. I think I gave it a 4 star on my Goodreads. But basically this book follows a boy whose granddad has died, and he's left him with his last words, telling him to go to this place with these peculiar children. And I really can't explain this book. I read it so quickly that I don't remember too many of the events. It was a really good book and I really liked it. It did drag a little bit because it's definitely a more dense book than the others I read in the readathon. However, that was just my brain shutting down after 38 hours of not sleeping. But I don't have the energy to explain it right now, as it's really hot and I'm kind of drained. And also I don't remember a whole lot about it. I remember the main plot twists and stuff, but I don't remember a whole lot. It was really, really, really good. I rated it a 4 star, and I'm definitely going to be picking up the sequel at some point. And yeah, I'm so hot. Can you see my energy just going down? And the last book I read this month, and outside of the readathon, though it was supposed to be a readathon book, was The Art of Being Normal by Lisa Williamson. I never remember her name for some reason. It follows our main protagonist David, who is a trans male to female character. He's currently a teenage boy and he is not out to anybody other than his 2 best friends. He's very, very scared to come out to everybody else. He's scared of rejection and he's scared of what's going to happen when he does come out. At the minute he is a boy, but he wants to be a girl, which makes me feel really bad calling him a he. But you kind of have to, because he is a he, she is a he throughout most of this book. It's confusing, okay? You can't really... I want to call David her because that's what they would like to be called. I'm just going to go with they for now. But throughout this book, they are called a he throughout. This follows their struggle with trying to come out as trans and trying to, like, be who they actually want to be. Also another character, Leo, who has recently moved to the school from a very rough area, and Leo has a secret that he doesn't want anybody to know, and Leo wants to just stay quiet, stay underneath the blanket and not draw attention to himself, until one day he sees that David is being picked on and he stands up for him, and then they join up together. And what I really, really, really liked about this book was the fact that they didn't put any romance aspects between Leo and David. You would assume they would, and they didn't, and that made me really happy because it wasn't focused on romance. It was so focused solely on David being trans. That made me very, very happy. Those are all the 8 books that I read in the month of June. I'm sorry this video was very kind of rushed towards the end. I'm just really hot. I want to put my fan back on, which obviously I can't when I'm filming because it's loud, and it's really warm in the UK right now and I just don't have the energy to film. Yeah, these books are also really heavy. But if you've read any of these books, then let me know what you thought of them down below. I love having book discussions. Even message any of my social medias, they're all linked in the description, and we can discuss them if you want to discuss spoilery aspects. That is the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I post a new booktube video on a Thursday and a new reading vlog on a Monday. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week.